Okay, this is a Nikon FE, which came in for service. What I wanted to show you today is how to protect the shutter on the camera while you're working on it. It's a small thing, but can save you a lot of headache. So let's open the back here and I'll show you what I'm talking about. In the back of the camera here, you can see the shutter right here. And while you're working on it, over 2 or 3 days, which is, for me, it's 2 or 3 days. For you, it might be 2 or 3 weeks. You will eventually damage that shutter. You say you won't, but you will. It's just a matter of time. And trying to show you how to protect it during that time, which is what I've been doing for 40 plus years. Let's remove the back here. Set that aside. Okay, move in close. Now you say, well, no, I won't. And yes, you will. And the way it happens is easy. The camera's laying down, and you're not thinking much, and you pick it up like this. And if you look on the back, your finger is right there. Sooner or later, you're going to shove your finger through it. It doesn't take much pressure. You don't actually have to shove it through it, but you can bend those blades. And on any shutter, you can bend them. But that's how it's done, actually, is that you just grab it. And usually it won't happen from this side. Usually it'll happen when you're, like picking up this way right here. Your finger eventually will hit that shutter and damage it. That's the first way it happens. The second way you can damage a camera shutter is by, when you're working, cleaning the foam out of this track here to replace the foam. Sometimes people put glue in there when they're putting in old foam, replacement foam. Amateurs do. Sometimes film chips get in there. Just different things get in there, and you have to kind of scrape them to get them out. Let's switch cameras. And once, years ago, I was not paying attention, do this every day, and I slipped, and my screwdriver here went right through the shutter of an F1. And I remember after it happened, it was one of the worst things I've ever experienced in my life. I just looked there and thought, that didn't happen. I didn't do that. I take it back. It took me 2 days to replace the shutter in that camera. It was a customer unit, of course, so I had to replace it. And taught me a lesson. After that, I always covered the shutter. But even if you're not pressing hard enough, even if you're being careful, and because it's your camera, if your screwdriver slips, you will leave a nice scratch right across the shutter, even if it's not damaged and it's working properly. So you want to cover the shutter whenever you're working on a camera, always. And I have for 40 years covered so one of the first things I do when I take the back cover off the film door is I cover the shutter so I can't damage it while I'm working on the camera. All right, let me show you what to do here. You can cover the shutter with anything. It doesn't really make any difference as long as you protect it. This is just the way I do it. I've been doing it 40 years simply because it's the way I started and it works. One day when I decided to start protecting the shutter, I just grabbed some old business cards that were outdated and I glued them together and then put tape over them and put them on top to protect the camera. And I'd have to replace it now and then. It'd get kind of ratty, but that's how I did it, and it worked well for me. So I'll show you here. But like I said, any method will work. In my case, like I said, I just got some contact cement, which I had here. Got some business cards. Put some contact cement on. Grabbed another one. Put it on top. Probably you could do this just with some cardboard. Another one. Again. So all three together. I let them dry. Next step is cutting to the right size. Okay, now that we've got them glued together, the next thing we need to do is we need to decide on the size and measure it and cut it. The first track here, you want the card laying on it, whatever your cardboard or whatever you're using, and cover this side. You want it to go from here to about here, and that way it can't push down into the shutter. Use scissors, of course. And the second track here, you want the tape to ride on. So basically you just need to cut it the correct size. Each camera is going to be a little different because the tracks may not be in the same place. So after we get through cutting the cardboard, or business cards in my case, you'll end up with something like this. It'll fit right across there. As you can see right here, it covers both the top and bottom rail and rides on both sides. And when I'm working on the camera, I can't damage the shutter. Even a probe, if it hits it, it'll just slide across the top. So cut your cardboard or whatever you're using about the size here. And then we'll get on to the next step, which is putting the tape on there. I used to use electrical tape, but I started using this paper tape because I like it better. Doesn't really make any difference. Just break off a piece here. As you can see, I've got it positioned over the first two tracks on the inside, and I do like so. Cross there, so I can press down, and usually I go all the way up to the sprocket like so. Okay, and then I just repeat until it's completely covered. Let's go to the next camera here and see if we can get the light on it. It's hard because the everything's black and the camera's not compensating, but you can see what I'm talking about there. That you want to cover it the whole top like that. This also helps when you're laying your foam because anything bright that's like chrome, the exposed area, makes it harder to see down the channels. I went ahead and finished this cover here so you wouldn't have to be bored just watching me finish it. As you can see, it's pretty simple. Just some thick paper with some tape on top. I have used electrical tape in the past, but I prefer this paper tape. Okay, let's put it on there. I'm going to start working on this Nikon FE today, and I needed this on here anyway to protect the shutter. So worked out well. Got to show you something, and I got it protected. Okay, the Sony camera is having a little bit trouble with all this black, but it's not worth making some adjustments on the exposure. As you can see, the shutter's protected now. On the next day or two, as I'm working the camera, if I reach around and grab it, I don't have to worry about damaging the shutter. If I have a tool here and I'm working and I slip, it'll just go right across the top. Okay, that's pretty much it. To some, this may seem simplistic, unimportant, but actually this was the most important video I could teach you. to protect the shutter. Shutters are very delicate. They're the heart of the camera. You destroy the shutter, you destroy the camera. And they damage very easily. Just takes a finger, a moment. It just takes a tool, a moment, and the shutter is damaged. And even if it's still working, it looks bad, and you just won't want it done to your camera. And have to look at it every day knowing that if you just covered it, it wouldn't be damaged, even if it's still working. So always cover the shutter in some way. If not this way, some other way. Protect it while you're working on it. When you pull the film door off, cover it immediately before you start. That's pretty much the end of this lesson, and later.